Hello everybody, today I'll be checking out Doom Terminator Vulcan and how to build him. So let's start with the gear. We have full resonance for Vulcan. At this stage I recommend full resonance for all your Transcendence heroes, because the difference between 2-2 or 3-1 split gears and your full resonance is very minimal nowadays because of the fixed HP and attack stats we have, and all the other resources of HP and attack are ridiculously high nowadays. So I recommend full resonance for him. Then we have the stones. So we have the skill damage, whole damage stone here, which is the highest damage you can get. You can use it for broken spaces, seal land, and void campaign. Now, if you need speed for some modes, you can use speed attack or speed crit, depending on how much attack your Vulcan has. So if your Vulcan has a lot of attack, you have a max home with splendid flags on everyone. In that case, you want to be running speed crit. However, if you are on the lower side of the attack, you want to be running speed attack, because it's just gonna be the highest damage you can get. However, crit is gonna be more consistent dealing with the enemies. And you just use one of these stones when you need to outspeed the enemies. So it can be Void Vortex, it can be Realms Gate 120 plus, it can be Void Campaign, PvP, Purgatory, and Tower. Then we have the artifacts. So first of all, we have the Melodic Strings. Melodic Strings is not the best artifact for Vulcan, because you want some stuff to happen in the fight before he can go and one-shot people. And in that case, Melodic is not a good option, because he's going to be one of the fastest heroes in your team, probably the fastest by himself. And his first active is not gonna matter too much if he doesn't have any stacks. So this is not a good artifact in that case. However, let's say your opponents are outspeeding you, and then all your heroes are dying. So your Vulcan is gonna have a few stacks in there, you know? And maybe you cannot survive to round 2 for the first active you are gonna use. In that case, you might want to try a Melodic String to one-shot them round 1 after your enemies kill your heroes. And if that is your only option, you can try Melodic Strings. However, it is not really good for Vulcan. Then we have A and B. Now, defensive artifacts are very good for Vulcan because he wants to keep the fight going a little bit, and also requires your enemies and also your team to attack a few times. So defensive team and defensive artifacts on everyone is pretty good for Vulcan. You can use A and B in Void Campaign, PvP, Purgatory, Tower, and Seal Land. Again, this is also a speed artifact, so it can help outspeed the enemies when you cannot do it with Punisher, for example. Meanwhile, with Punisher, you can just one-shot stuff round 2, hopefully, after you get a little bit of stacks. So you can do that for Void Vortex, Realms Gate, Void Campaign, and Tower. Again, like, I don't really recommend this for Realms Gate, because if your team dies for you to get stacks, that is not a good option for Realms Gate. You kind of want people to be alive, and you want to be consistent in Realms Gate, so I just added it in there because why not? And then we have the Golden Crown. So Golden Crown is a very good artifact for why am I saying Mokman? For Vulcan. Meanwhile, Fan is also another great option, so you'll be checking them out. As you can see, the content for them are pretty similar because they both serve the same purpose, to be honest. So you can use Crown in Realms Gate, Void Campaign, PvP, Tower, and Seal Land. Meanwhile, Fan you can use in Realms Gate, Void Campaign, PvP, Purgatory, and Seal Land. So as you can see, Purgatory is going to be better to use Fan. And then we have the Antler's Cane, which you can use in Broken Spaces and Seal Land for the first stages, I believe. So like 25-1, 26-1, and so on. And yeah, that is basically all for the Antlers. I also used it a little bit in Void Campaign. However, I see that Punisher is just going to be out damaging the Antlers most of the time. And then we have the enables. So it's the classic 3-2-4-3-1. You can of course use Unbending Will if you die round 1 or don't get to see your active. You can use Shelter if your enemies do huge amounts of crit for you. And then you can change around the Purify depending on what you are facing. You can also use attack enables instead of the speed if you don't need those extra speed to outspeed the enemies. And then we have imprints. So imprints are going to be crit, crit damage, damage reduction. This is pretty consistent. However, you don't really need crit if you want to maximize your damage. You can just rely on a little bit of RNG, right? In that case, if you want to maximize damage even further, you can run holy damage or skill damage from the imprints. You can also drop damage reduction if you don't need it to survive, and use all of them basically, like crit damage, holy damage, skill damage. That's going to give you the highest damage output you can get. Crit is there for the consistency, and damage reduction is there if you have a lot of attack that you don't need one of these to one-shot people. In that case, you can use damage reduction to further survive easier. And then we have the Tree of Origin. So most of the Vulcan subs are pretty good. You want to do all of them if you want to use Vulcan. And these are just a few bad ones, one in each tree, to be honest. And the upgrade order is going to be like this. So active is very important, of course. Third active, second active are also pretty good. And then the basic attack upgrades, they are still good, but not as much as the last passives. So that's gonna be the last thing you max out. Again, this kind of depends on how many subs you have and what is the Tree of Origin level for your Vulcan. So let's say you have P4 Vulcan, you are not even close to P5, and you have subs. You can go for the basic attack in that case. That's not a problem at all. And we have the Awakening here. So I put a good Awakening I found in the auction house. It's gonna be up right now, I think. And yeah, this is a very good copy. Why? Because it's a B-, it is below retire, so you know, it doesn't really cost anything. You can sell it back for this price anyway, if you use him and then decide to not use him anymore at that stage. And it has a very good amount of speed, 44. That is very good. It's a B+ speed on a B- copy. So this is what kind of copy you are looking for. If you are looking for a main homeowner Vulcan copy, speed is all you need. Attack and HP on your homeowner Awakening is not important at all. They're completely garbage. They can be 0 and it won't matter too much. And then for the bonus stats for him, you want to be using these in order. So the top 2 is gonna be the most important, which is damage reduction and crit damage, followed by skill damage, hold damage, crit, and precision. Again, these are in order from best to worst. So why damage reduction? Because Vulcan has a lot of damage reduction himself, and he likes to survive a little bit to do the best out of his actives, and damage reduction is great for that. However, again, if your Vulcan doesn't have too much attack, you don't want defensive stats on these, like either imprints or the Awakening. You just want to go full damage. In that case, you want to run crit damage, skill damage, or any of the other combinations going down below. So that is what I recommend anyway. And crit damage, skill damage is gonna be the highest damage output. Damage reduction, crit damage is gonna be the best combination of these runes. Runes? What runes? Awakening bonus. And then we have the tenants. So these are the best tenants for Vulcan. Of course, the 2 are gonna be Transcendence. And then we have Azrael and Mockman. So why Mockman and Azrael? Well, these flags, Dark and Shadow, are pretty useful. You can use them on a lot of homeowners. Because the other 2 tenants here, which are Tussilago and Vulcan himself, I think, both are light heroes, and there are not many light heroes that are good homeowners, or there are not any. I don't think there is any good homeowner that uses a light tenant. So these are going to be the best setup for you. Again, if you are going to maximize the stats, you want to run Tussilago instead of Azrael, because Tussilago has a skin, Azrael doesn't have a skin. However, I wouldn't really go for that. Like, that little bit of difference means you need to go for a light flag. Nope, not happening. And that is all I got for Vulcan. If you'd like to video, leave a like and subscribe. Let me know what you want to see next, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.